What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're going to break down all of the new Eververse items for Season of the Seraph, specifically focusing on those which will be available for both Silver and Bright Dust in the season. And hopefully this will be helpful in terms of planning for any items you want to pick up, and avoiding spending Silver only for an item to come up for sale for Bright Dust at a later date. And so we'll go through each week of the season, covering the stuff that's going to be up for both currencies. As always, timestamps for the various weeks are down below, and we'll be covering Dawning items early on since that kicks off soon. Should also give a big shout out to todayindestiny.com for their Eververse schedule. If you want to see all of the items available in Eververse this season, it's definitely a good website to check out, and that is linked in the description box below. But now let's get into the Eververse rotation for Season 19. We're not going to focus especially on week 1, since we're in that week already, but for week 2 of the season, which starts on the 13th of December, of course the Dawning will also be active, so the Solo Fist Bump Legendary emote will be up for 700 Bright Dust. Just bear in mind that that will go up for sale for Silver the following week, so if you want it, possibly better to pick it up in this second week. There's also the Festive Shell, a new exotic ghost for the Dawning there, which will be available for 2850 Bright Dust in week 2. And just bear in mind that in weeks 3, 4, 7, and 10, it will also be available for Silver. It's similar for the Serious Majoris, an exotic ship for the Dawn in there. In week 2, that'll be available for 2000 Bright Dust, but it's going to come up for Silver in weeks 2, 3, 4, 6, and 10 as well. But also in week 2, the Eververse store will see the Compliance ornament for Anarchy, a pretty cool Dawning ornament right there, and that will cost 1250 Bright Dust. Heading into week 3, which will start on the 20th of December though, a couple of new items that'll be available for both currencies include the Joy of Dawning, a new exotic sparrow right there. For week 3 it will cost 2500 Bright Dust, but bear in mind it will have also been for sale in week 2 for Silver, and will come up on a few subsequent weeks for their currency as well. Additionally for week 3 there'll be the ornament Cold Cheer for the Gamer Supps. That's a pretty cool one right there, and it will cost 1250 Bright Dust in week 3, but again it's going to be sold for Silver on subsequent weeks. Next though, let's move on to week 4, which will kick off on the 27th of December. And the Shaky Skating exotic multiplayer emote will be up for 4250 Bright Dust. Just bear in mind it will have been sold for Silver in week 3. There'll also be the Nutcracker Shell in week 4. That one will cost 2850 Bright Dust, but it will have been available for Silver in weeks 2 and 3 as well. Then there is the Frictional Cooler exotic ship. In week 4 it will cost 2000 Bright Dust, and we can see it will have previously been available for Silver in week 3. And the final week 4 item available for both currencies is the Infinite Gift ornament for the Vex Mythoclast. Another Dawning one right there, and it'll cost 1250 Bright Dust in week 4, and so it may be one that you want to avoid in week 3 when it's available for Silver. Week 5 of the season will begin on the 3rd of January. At this point the Dawning will be over, and that week will mainly be filled with items from previous seasons. So as we focus on week 6, which starts on the 10th of January, the gauntlets from the Eververse Arc Armor set for the season will be available, and they'll cost 1200 Bright Dust. They are available in week 1 for Silver as well, but there is at least the option to wait until week 6 to spend Bright Dust instead. Week 7 will begin on the 17th of January, and the only new item to focus on right there will be the Dance Off exotic emote. It'll cost 3250 Bright Dust on week 7, but it will have been sold for Silver on week 6. The back end of the season does start to slowly feature more new items for Season of the Seraph though, and so week 8 begins on the 24th of January. And we're going to see the Standout Pose rare emote that will cost 400 Bright Dust on week 8, but will also be sold for Silver on week 10. In addition to that, we'll see the boots from the Arc Eververse set this season. Once again, that'll be for all 3 classes. And on week 8, they'll cost 1200 Bright Dust, but we can see they've been available for Silver in the first week of the season as well. Additionally, there'll be a cool new exotic ornament for Trinity Ghoul, which is 3 glowing dawns. It's available for Silver in week 5, but if you wait until week 8, it'll cost 1250 Bright Dust. And we're quickly ahead to week 9 of the season, which will begin on the 31st of January right here, where the class item from the Eververse Arc Armor set for the season will be available for 1200 Bright Dust. There are quite a few more items in week 10 though, and that begins on the 7th of February, where we're going to see the Ark's Courier exotic ship. This will be up for Silver on various weeks before week 10, but for week 10 itself it will cost 2000 Bright Dust. Additionally, there'll be the Red Light, Green Light exotic emote, that'll cost 3250 Bright Dust on week 10, having previously been sold for Silver on week 8. Then we start to get some of the exotic armor ornaments right here, and we've got the Isochronal Nanofluid for the Renewal Grasps. They'll be sold for Silver on week 6, but on week 10 they'll be available for 1500 Bright Dust. It's exactly the same for the Abyss Inverted, which is a new ornament for the Heart of Inmost Light. Available for silver on week 6, but for week 10, it'll cost 1500 bright dust. And finally, there is the Rayonant Tracery, an ornament for the second filaments right there. Also, on week 10, that will cost 1500 bright dust. And now moving into the last couple of weeks of the season, for week 11, on the 14th of February, the Wall Sneak Rare emote will come up for bright dust, and it will cost 400 bright dust. We'll finally see the chest piece from the Arc Eververse set for the season, and in week 11 it will cost 1200 bright dust. Additionally, there'll be a new ornament for the Frosties, the 8000er. That'll be available for silver on various weeks, but for week 11 will cost 1500 bright dust instead. It's once again the same story for a new ornament for Dune Marchers, where Titans get the Mayrin's Odyssey ornament. Pretty cool Black Armory themed ornament there, again costing 1500 bright dust in week 11. And finally, the Endothermia ornament for the Osmiomancy gloves, which will also be 1500 bright dust in the 11th week of the season. On top of this, we'll get another ornament for Tiku's Divination, the Solar Astrolabe, and on weeks 2, 6, and 9 it will be sold for silver, but in week 11 it will be 1250 bright dust. And for the very final week of the season, week 12, beginning on the 21st of February, we'll see the Ghost Fist Bump exotic emote. On week 9 it will be for silver, but in week 12 it will be 3250 bright dust. There'll also be the OU rare emote, that will cost 400 bright dust. And then the exotic Ghost Shell, the Drill Down Shell, again it will have been sold on various weeks for silver, but in week 12 it'll cost 2850 bright dust. A similar story for this exotic Sparrow, Externalization, where in week 12 it will be available for 2500 bright dust. Plus on that week we'll get the helmet from the Arc Eververse set for the season, and they'll cost 1200 bright dust each. And finally an ornament for Lorentz Driver. This is called Open Hands. We can see on week 10 it's available for silver, but on week 12 it can be purchased for 1250 bright dust. Obviously, there are quite a few more new items in the season in general, but some of them will only be sold for bright dust, for instance, or will be silver exclusive or come from bundles and things like that. So here we've been focusing on items that are available for both currencies, so that you can make a decision on which currency you want to spend, basically. And so as always, I hope the video has been useful, guys. Definitely check out todayindestiny.com and their Eververse calendar for a better look at the inventory for the season, but if this has been a helpful video, a rating down below would be really awesome. Plus feel free to get subscribed, and I'll keep you posted with more Destiny content. Otherwise though, cheers for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys very soon.